Alright guys, welcome back to Underground Science, and in this video we'll be covering the nervous system divisions and the basic structures of the embryo nervous system branches, alright? So let's go and get started. So let's start out by talking about the nervous system divisions, alright? So we have two main central divisions of the nervous system, right? So let's go and write this out. So we have the nervous system, right? We have the nervous system, we know that. We know that we have a nervous system. What divides this nervous system? Well, we have this nervous system divides into two main things. Let's go and scroll down. So it divides into one category called the central nervous system. All right, so one category involved in the brain and spinal cord, which I'll write later. So central nervous system. Let's go and write that down. And then we have a nervous system branch that divides into our peripheral nervous system. All right, so this is going to be our peripheral nervous system. All right, so let's go and finish writing that down, and let's keep on going further down. So our central nervous system is going to be the nerve cells or the neurons that are going to be involved in the brain and spinal cord. All right, so these are going to be the brain and spinal cord. All right, and so that's that. And then the peripheral nervous system are the neurons that are involved in the periphery. So your limbs and your trunk and all that. All right. So this is going to be the peripheral. Is pretty much your nerves that branch out to the rest of your body. So peripheral nerves. All right. So that's that. And now we have to discuss, because the peripheral nervous system has two more branches. All right. So let's go and discuss what those two branches are. So the peripheral nervous system comes here, right, and branches into two more areas. And what are those two branches? Well, one of the branches that the peripheral nervous system branches into is our somatic nervous system. All right? Now, our somatic nervous system is most commonly known for our muscles, right? So we can think of our muscle movements for here. So our muscles are involved in the somatic nervous system. Our next branch of our peripheral nervous system is going to be our autonomic nervous system. All right, so our autonomic nervous system. All right, and based on the word autonomic nervous system, we know that this is the nervous system involved in automatic things that happen by itself, right? That are not under our voluntary control. So that's another thing. In the somatic nervous system, this is for voluntary control. Right, so voluntary movements. But for the autonomic nervous system, this is involuntary, right? We just have to think or structure the brain that help us perform these autonomic tasks. So these are involuntary. All right, so we don't voluntarily, like things like our smooth muscles, right? We don't have any voluntary control over that, unlike we do in our skeletal muscles. So things like respiration, right? We do have some voluntary control in our respiration when we want to breathe, like in our diaphragm muscle, right? Our diaphragm muscle is a skeletal muscle, but when you're not thinking about breathing, it turns into autonomic control. Your brain controls your respiration, right? Your respiration rate. So important things like that, all right? And so then even further divisions down our autonomic nervous system, we have even two more divisions here in our autonomic nervous system. Our autonomic nervous system divides into the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. All right, so the parasympathetic nervous system, let's write that down here. Sympathetic nervous system, and the sympathetic nervous system. All right, so parasympathetic nervous system, you're going to erase this random dot, and the sympathetic nervous system. All right, so those are the two branches of the autonomic nervous system. Now, what do these two branches do? Like, what do each of these two branches do? Well, just think of the sympathetic nervous system responsible for your flight or fight response. All right, so maybe you've heard that before. Either you're going to flight from a situation or you're going to fight. All right, so our flight or fight response, that adrenaline rush. All right, and your parasympathetic nervous system is the chill out nervous system, right? You just chill. Okay, so we just chill out and you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So the one example that you can think of is that when your sympathetic nervous system is activated, your blood redirects from your gastrointestinal system and actually flows to your muscles, right? Because you need that boost of energy, that boost of ATP to really fight or either flight, all right? But in your parasympathetic nervous system, we see that blood flow actually goes more towards your gastrointestinal system rather than your muscles, all right? So your GI tract, because you increase digestion. So there's things like that. There are many things like that that we have to focus on. Is that just remember though that the main thing is the sympathetic nervous system associated with flight or fight, and the parasympathetic is associated with the chill out. All right, you just chill out when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated. All right, so let's go ahead and so that was the divisions of the nervous system, the basic divisions. Now let's go ahead and talk about in the embryo what the structures are, like the hindbrain, the forebrain, and the midbrain, and what each of those are called in the embryo. All right, so let's go and talk about this real quick. So first let's talk about the forebrain. All right, the forebrain. Then we're going to talk about the midbrain. Right, these are all in the we're going to relate it to the embryo. All right, so that's growing inside the mother, inside the womb of the mother. So the midbrain and the hindbrain. All right, so we're just going to talk about the structures that are called these particular names inside. All right, so the forebrain is going to be called the prosencephalon. All right, that's a structure called the prosencephalon, especially when we're talking about the embryo. So the prosencephalon. All right, and the prosencephalon or the forebrain is going to develop into the cerebrum, right, in the embryo. So just think of the forebrain as a cerebrum. It's going to mostly develop into the cerebrum of the embryo, or in the embryo, and it's going to be called the prosencephalon. Now the midbrain is going to be called the mesencephalon. All right, the midbrain is going to be called the mesencephalon in the embryo, and the midbrain is going to develop into the midbrain. All right, so the midbrain is an actual structure of the brainstem. That's the first part of the brainstem. So let me go and write that down. It's the first part of the brainstem, and it's going to be called the mesencephalon. All right, so sorry about these random dots that are appearing here. Brainstem. All right. Next, the hindbrain is going to be called the rhombencephalon. All right, so this is going to be called the rhombencephalon. All right, so the rhombencephalon. And the rhombencephalon is going to consist of not just one structure. So let me go and write this down. The rhombencephalon is going to consist of the pons of the brainstem, the medulla oblongata of the brainstem. All right, and it's going to consist of the little brain, right, the cerebellum. So all these structures are going to be part of the rhombencephalon, and it's going to develop into the hindbrain, right? So the hindbrain of the rhombencephalon will all develop into the pons in the embryo, right? The medulla oblongata and the cerebellum. All right, so these were just the basic structures that I wanted to get through in this video on the nervous system branches. So I really hope this video made sense to you guys. I really hope you see you guys in my future videos where I'll talk about more cool topics about biochem, physics, and chem. All right, so I really hope to see you guys there, and don't forget to hit that notification bell and like and subscribe. See you guys later and stay safe.